Your patience is rewarded.
A Gorgon woman with a petrifying golden gaze lived within the undercity of the plain of Ravnica. The mighty Gorgon assassin with snake-like hair would terrify Ravnican citizens, keeping the victims she turned to stone as trophies in the damp lairs of the Golgari. This is the exploration of VRASKA. VRASKA's early life was a simple existence in the undercity of Ravnica, on the fringes of the Golgari swarm. The politics of the plane would soon destabilize VRASKA's life. The Azorius Senate decided that the Golgari had grown too powerful and numerous, demanding the Golgari be pushed out of certain areas that they had claimed. Isperia, then a high-ranking Azorius judge, issued a writ of mass arrest for anyone caught bearing allegiance to the Golgari. VRASKA would be among those apprehended and detained within an Azorius prison. The cells quickly filled to capacity, and the prisoners vastly outnumbered the guards. The prisoners began to riot. While both parties were distracted, VRASKA and her fellow inmates found themselves quickly ferried away to be hidden in a secure location. Tensions grew thick as the guards became nervous and eventually abusive, until the prisoners had taken enough from their callous jailers. The Golgari captives worked together in order to free VRASKA. The guards, realizing the threat, quickly turned their attention to her. VRASKA was severely beaten and lay near death, when her spark suddenly ignited, transporting her to an entirely new plane. Here, VRASKA learned to control her unique abilities. 2 years after her spark ignited, VRASKA returned to Ravnica, but now she had a new motto: a person should die the death they deserve. VRASKA began gathering followers in her quest to bring justice to those she felt deserved retribution. Many died fighting for VRASKA, but even more died at the hands of her. VRASKA sought to punish the Azorius who had caused the riot, reserving a special punishment for the guards, the arbiters, and anyone who she felt was connected to the events in any way. She was now an assassin of the shadows, and her name was spoken about like an urban legend amongst the Golgari. VRASKA stayed well away from guild politics, but her notoriety would begin to gain even outside the Undercity, known to all as the swift assassin who would disappear into the aether once her mission had been completed. VRASKA would take her skills to other planes in order to gain experience and add to her growing collection of trophies. VRASKA had a grander scheme she wished to fulfill, forcing Jace Beleren into her service. VRASKA gathered citizens of Ravnica whose names would only be known to planeswalkers, and arranged them to spell Jace's name. Jace was forced to confront VRASKA, where she used various threats in an attempt to bring him under her control. Jace ultimately escapes, and made Ravnica aware of VRASKA's existence, making it difficult for the Gorgon assassin to return to the shadows. VRASKA used her newfound infamy to recruit the disenfranchised among the Golgari Guild, to rally them against Gerard and his elves. She found willing allies in the Crawl, who delved into darker necromancies to unearth the erstwhile in their hidden catacombs beneath the city. VRASKA would soon be enticed to leave her home plane of Ravnica. An agent of Bolas would place a note inviting VRASKA to the meditation plane. When she arrived, Nico Bolas offered to make her guildmaster of the Golgari and bring those to justice that preyed on the downtrodden, in exchange for her help traveling to Ixalan to deliver an item stored in the golden city of VRASKA to one of Bolas's agents. VRASKA accepted the offer and was gifted the thaumatic compass and knowledge of sailing to help her explore the plane. On Ixalan, VRASKA posed as a member of the Brazen Coalition, a society of pirates. VRASKA quickly earned the respect and admiration of the crew, leading as a democratic leader. Guided by the compass, VRASKA's ship found Jace lost in the sea. VRASKA realized Jace had no memory of who he was, and so she spared his life. Using Jace's powers as an illusionist, she plundered the ships of the Legion of Dusk. Jace and VRASKA started developing a new relationship based on respect and attraction. The golden city they sought would reveal itself, causing VRASKA and Jace to fall into the churning waters. To VRASKA's horror, the shock caused Jace's memories to return. His telepathic powers caused VRASKA to witness every single memory that returned to Jace. VRASKA feared that Jace's memory would reignite their discord, but Jace forgave VRASKA for her past transgressions. With their friendship stronger than ever, they continued their pursuit of VRASKA, where they unexpectedly were confronted by a legend of their home plane of Ravnica, Azor the Lawbringer. VRASKA stood in awe as Jace used his powers as a living guild pact to banish the Sphinx to a remote island. VRASKA then discovered the artifact Bolas was seeking, the very artifact Azor had sacrificed his Planeswalker spark to create, the Immortal Sun. VRASKA realized Nico Bolas would learn of her love for Jace, so she asked Jace to remove all of her memories of him. Jace fulfilled her wish, but implanted a trigger to reinstall her memories at the right moment, planning to defeat Bolas together. VRASKA summoned Tezzeret, who removed the Immortal Sun from the plane of Ixalan using his planar bridge. With the Immortal Sun out of the picture, VRASKA was now able to planeswalk away. VRASKA returned to Ravnica where she would kill Gerard with the help of the erstwhile and Karl to establish herself as Golgari Guildmaster. A Karl named Zedek, a telepath, discovered Jace's mind block and removed it at VRASKA's request. VRASKA now remembered Ixalan, her friendship with Jace, and her newfound righteousness. VRASKA realized Bolas was planning to invade Ravnica with his Eternal Army, and decided it was necessary to attend the guild summit. VRASKA wanted to prove herself, pledging her guild to attack the Orzhov Syndicate in order to change the guild's leadership. With Ral Zarek and the Rakdos emissary Hekara, VRASKA led an army of rot zombies, trolls, and giant insects into Orzhova as a distraction, allowing Kaya to take advantage and kill the Obzedat. Although VRASKA was originally sincere when she approached Kaya and Ral Zarek to topple the Orzhov, she ultimately betrayed them. VRASKA had met with a Devkaran elf who was possessed by Bolas. Bolas noted that VRASKA had deviated from her assigned role by helping Ral Zarek. He threatened to turn the erstwhile against the Golgari, which would create death and bring chaos to her people. Bolas forced VRASKA to choose if she was for or against him. Before the War of the Spark, VRASKA would finally bring retribution to Ravnica. VRASKA killed Isperia as payback for the suffering of her youth. VRASKA continued to fight for Bolas, worried she would be deposed of as Golgari's guildmaster without his help. VRASKA would be confronted by Ral Zarek and Aurelia. VRASKA barely managed to escape at the cost of her friend Zedek's life. VRASKA's betrayal would also result in the Rakdos emissary Hekara being killed by a Bolas-possessed Lavinia. During that fight, VRASKA proved no match for the full-powered Ral Zarek, escaping her own death by planeswalking away. VRASKA's planeswalk would bring her back to Ixalan. As a result, she was not present on Ravnica when Bolas's invasion began. VRASKA worried that the Golgari swarm would be wiped out without her leadership, and so she returned to Ravnica out of concern for her own people. VRASKA encountered Ral and Kaya in the Undercity, where they were trying to convince the other Golgari leaders to support their cause. VRASKA united the Golgari once again, and pledged the guild to fight against Bolas. With the help of Ajani and his team of planeswalkers, they were able to evacuate many civilians to the tunnels underneath the city, safe from the Dread Horde army. VRASKA, Ral, Kaya, and others journeyed to Rix Madi to negotiate with Rakdos. Rakdos was initially hostile due to the death of Hekara. The Blood Witch Exava ordered the group of planeswalkers to leave. However, the Orzhov representative, Tomik, showed up with Hekara's corpse, allowing the Rakdos cultist to resurrect her as a Blood Witch. Hekara went on to defeat Exava in a fight, and used her newfound authority to lead the Rakdos against Bolas. Once all the 10 guilds agreed to fight Bolas, Nissa performed a ritual at the ruins of the Guild Pact Chamber. With the help of a representative from each guild, Nissa was able to repair the ley lines that empowered the living Guild Pact. Using a device that Niv Mizzet had constructed before his death to preserve his consciousness, the team was able to resurrect Niv Mizzet and grant him the power of the living Guild Pact. Niv used his newfound power to save others from God Eternal Kefnet. Niv Mizzet completely incinerated Kefnet in a torrent of flame. The energy channeled was powerful enough to kill a god, and caused Niv Mizzet to fall unconscious. Later on during the fight, Jace reunited with VRASKA. Jace attempted to restore her memories, only to find out that they had already been restored by Zedek. VRASKA confessed she was fully aware that the threat Bolas posed, but still killed Isperia in a fit of vengeful rage, despite knowing her actions would help further Bolas's plans. Jace forgave VRASKA, promising to get together with her if they survived the continuing war. VRASKA and Jace would survive the war. VRASKA was present during the plane-wide celebration that followed, where she and Jace shared a kiss. VRASKA was confronted by Niv-Mizzet and other guildmasters for the murder of Isperia and her work for Bolas. They decided to spare the planeswalkers who formerly worked for Bolas but defected before the battle, under the condition that they make amends by hunting down the planeswalkers who stayed loyal to Bolas or defected too late. VRASKA was assigned the task of capturing Dovin Baan. VRASKA's choice of leading the Golgari ultimately caused her and Jace to grow apart again. VRASKA remained Guildmaster of the Golgari, but during her absence, her position was contested. VRASKA was busy hunting down Dovin Baan, who originally fled to Kaladesh but returned to a Ravnica safe house. Here, he was discovered by VRASKA. Dovin struck a deal with VRASKA. In exchange for his life, Baan offered to help her retain control of the Golgari. Baan helped VRASKA frame a leading contender for the control of the Golgari, Izoni, for a crime she did not commit. Dovin and VRASKA planned to fake Dovin Baan's death by using a statue replica of himself. A fight was staged on Reganta, with Chandra Nalaar being an unsuspecting accomplice. During the fight, VRASKA severed Baan's right hand to use as proof of a kill, while Chandra believed she had delivered the killing blow. The plan succeeded, and Baan returned to Ravnica, only to be assassinated by Atkos Tar, who had been sent by Lazav in a plan to blackmail VRASKA. Currently, VRASKA is in control of the Golgari, but in turn, she is controlled by Lazav, who will make her failure to kill Baan known to the Living Guild Pact if she does not comply with his wishes. This has been the exploration of VRASKA.